presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Minnesota.
We had some rain earlier here today, but it has cleared out. Still cloudy skies, but we think we're in the clear as the Twins and the Braves wrap up their two-game series tonight from Target Field. Last night, the Twins had some chances, but they could not convert. They went 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position and left 7 men on base. The Twins were shut out by the Braves 2-0 in that opener last night. Good evening from Target Field. I'm Marnie Gellner. 5 different Atlanta pitchers combined for that shutout against the Twins, but we also can't forget the guy who was behind the plate calling the game, and that was A.J. Pierzynski. Pierzynski is now in his 19th Major League season, a career that began with the Twins in Minnesota. It was called up in 1998 and became the team's regular catcher by 2001. And A.J. has not announced his plans for next year, but this could very well be his final trip to Minnesota, a state that he has nothing but love for.
It means a lot to me. People keep asking me that. I could not be prouder or happier than I was coming up with this organization, the Twins, because of the way they taught us and what they taught us and how they made us believe that the fundamentals were the best thing in the world. And they did an amazing job. If you look at the players that came through here when I was here, and some of the players are still out there playing. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Pierzynski was not booed when he came to the plate last night. He said that shocked him, and even more shocked, there was some applause for him. He said his wife asked him after the game, "What, are you losing your touch?" Pierzynski will be behind the plate and in the starting lineup for the Braves here again tonight. Coming up next, a guy who is swiping bases and loving every minute of it. Eduardo Nunez stealing the spotlight after this.
Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Chrysler. Enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance event. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. Tonight at Target Field, the Twins hope to gain a split in this two-game series with the Atlanta Braves. Tyler Duffey will start for the Minnesota Twins against Mike Foltynewicz. And we welcome you to Target Field. Stopped raining. We're going to have baseball for you here tonight as the Twins take on the Atlanta Braves, two teams that have been struggling again this year. Usually when teams who are struggling turn it around, it, believe it or not, starts turning around with good defense, and we saw some of that last night.
Yeah, we witnessed a very good ball game last night, a 2-0 Atlanta Brave win. But for the Twins, there was outstanding defense behind Santana. 3 times Brian Dozier made this play right here. Almost deja vu, deja vu, deja vu for Dozier. 3 outstanding plays. And then with A.J. Pierzynski up later in the ball game, it was Max Kepler came in, made a nice diving catch to rob Pierzynski of maybe a base hit. And then for the Atlanta Braves off the bat of Joe Mauer, Peterson, the left fielder, what a great diving catch. Timed it perfectly right into the center of the glove for a nice running catch.
As you might expect, the Twins aren't leading the American League in much of anything except stolen bases. Eduardo Nunez is now the new American League leader, which is remarkable when you consider he wasn't starting at the start of the year.
Yeah, 2 stolen bases in last night's ball game for Nunez, now with 26 on the year. That's 1 ahead of Jose Altuve with the Houston Astros. So a big part of Nunez's game is to get on as that leadoff hitter and then get in the scoring position, what he's done a great job of.
Well, the Twins hope to give Tyler Duffey some run support here today. Hope to get a split of the 2-game series against the Atlanta Braves. Baltimore coming in tomorrow, then 3 games with Chicago. Max Kepler and the Twins hoping to put together a winning month of July. They can clinch a 500 month with a win tonight. Success begins with solid starting pitching. Minnesota has seen plenty of ups and downs with the starting staff this season, and lately it has been more good than bad. Leading away for the Twins' roller coaster ride on the rubber is Tyler Duffey. He has shown plenty of promise, but has lacked the consistency to give his club confidence. Tonight, Duffey looks to get back on track and give the Twins a series split against the Braves. And Tyler Duffey taking the mound after being ambushed at Fenway Park by the Boston Red Sox and having his shortest start of the year. I think we all witnessed Duffey's personality and his intensity. I'm sure the last 4 days have been rather difficult for him. Itching to get back on the mound tonight.
Yeah, you have a short outing like he did against Boston. Gave up a first hitter home run to Mookie Betts' first pitch. So watch the first pitch here tonight. See what he does. It's going to be a fastball, curveball.
Fastball up and away. Yep. 1-0 to the leadoff man for the Braves, Jace Peterson. He'll be followed by Gordon Beckham and Freddie Freeman. And now down and away 2-0.
Yeah, of course, Duffey just making his 27th major league start, only his 3rd interleague start, and he's never faced the Braves. So important for a pitcher. Establish that fastball early, get ahead in the count if you can.
And he tried to do that. It's just that most of his fastballs got hit and hit very hard. He gave up hits to the first 4 batters he faced at Fenway Park, and had a difficult time again in the 3rd inning. Fouled away 2-2. For the most part, he's been pretty good and been a part of this Twins renaissance here in the month of July.
Yeah, he still needs to get more quality starts. This is his 17th start. In the first 16, only 5 quality starts where he's pitched 6 innings and given up 3 earned runs or less. Now we talked about in the open, Dick, a lot of run support that Duffey has been able to receive when he's been on the mound, but still you'd like to see the consistency a little bit better, and it starts with tonight. You can't do anything about the past, but you know, Duffey's still young enough, only 25 years old. Not a lot of major league starts, as I mentioned, but needs to find that consistency, get deep into the ball game by having some quick innings like Santana did last night. You know, 97 pitches in the complete game loss, but still, you know, there's a walk right there on 8 pitches.
7 pitches,
7
all
pitches, yeah.
Fastballs. And it's a leadoff walk for Jace Peterson. The Menards batting order for the Atlanta Braves. Peterson's walk now. Gordon Beckham, Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, Adonis Garcia, Jeff Francoeur, Ender Inciarte, A.J. Pierzynski, and Eric Ibar. Here is Beckham. And there is another fastball missing. 8 pitches, 3 strikes, and 8 fastballs.
Ten double plays behind Duffey. Can get that fastball with some movement down. Maybe Beckham will beat it into the ground.
2-0 to Beckham.
Doug Eddings calling balls and strikes behind the plate tonight. A 19-year veteran. And Jeff Nelson, a crew chief, behind the plate last night.
There's a fastball on the corner. Rain most of the afternoon here in downtown Minneapolis. Skies cleared late in the afternoon. Neither team took batting practice on the field. 2-1. And now 2-2.
And opponents coming into this ball game again. Duffey's first 16 starts this year. Opponents hitting .295. That's pretty high. Well, right-handers are hitting .319 off of him, where he's given up 11 of his 15 home runs to right-handed hitters. And left-handers hitting .269.
Did you ever throw 11 fastballs without throwing a curve in your life?
Probably not.
There's a curve, and it's hit hard to left center field. Off the base of the wall. Peterson to third. He's going to be waved around. The ball mishandled in the outfield. And the Braves take a 1-0 lead.
Well, the first curveball he does throw is a hanger. It hung right there for Beckham to be able to drive in his 20th run. So a poor start for Tyler Duffey, the leadoff walk, and then the breaking ball. You can see where that stayed up about belt high, and Beckham weighted back nicely. He doesn't have home run power, but he got all of that and hit it against the wall right at that 377 mark, and then it carried back to the infield, and that allowed Peterson to score from first.
And now Freddie Freeman. And a first pitch strike. Braves are just 2-9 since the All-Star break, including the 2-0 win over the Twins last night. Ooh, old foul off the screen in front of the Twins dugout.
A lot of extra base hits for Freddie Freeman. 17 home runs. That's the most on the Atlanta Brave ball club. 23 doubles, 6 triples.
2 strikes to Freeman.
Don't get to see Freeman, but I like his short, compact swing. Very strong looking. 6'5", 220. Freeman at 26 years old, already in his 7th season with the Braves.
Duffy still looking for his first out. Two and a third innings. The extent of his start against the Red Sox. 9 hits, 6 earned runs. First pitch he threw was hit for a home run by Mookie Betts. Dribbled up the line, foul. Last night, Irvin Santana had back-to-back innings where he threw just 6 pitches. He had another inning where he threw just 5. And here tonight in the first inning, Duffy's got 17 pitches already, still looking for his first out.
Yeah, the first 5 innings for Santana last night, he had a total of 39 pitches.
And drifts outside, 2-2.
Duffy may do that here in the first inning.
Mentioned before, Duffy leading the staff with 5 wins, which tells you something about how the season's gone for the Twins. And another pitch fouled away.
That's not the, 5 and 7 on the year, but his ERA is 5.71 coming into this ball game. That is not good.
Neil Allen hoping that Duffy can find something here quickly in this first inning. This will be the 20th pitch of the inning. And another foul ball.
When we have seen Duffy pick up strikeouts, it's usually on that curveball. A couple fastballs right there fouled off by Freeman. 70 strikeouts in 89 innings pitched for Duffy.
And a flare into right field, a base hit. And they're going to wave the runner Beckham around. Here comes the throw from Santana, cut off by Mauer, and it's 2-0. A similar start for Duffy, who gave up hits to the first 4 batters in Boston. And now a couple of runs on the board, a runner at first, still nobody out with Markakis coming up.
Well, Freeman again, very solid hitter. He got a fastball, he fought it off. He almost, watch his pitch right here, inside part of the plate, but Freeman opened up quickly and didn't hit it real hard, maybe more on the label part, but enough to drive it into right field, enough for Beckham to get a good jump as Rosario makes a throw home. And they probably would not have to play at home if that ball went through. So Freeman picking up his 37th RBI.
Gave up 3 runs in the first at Fenway Park, and now a couple already here tonight. Here's Markakis. Could be 2. Dozier. And double play is called at first. We'll see if the Braves challenge it. Looked like it was kind of a slow developing 4-6-3 attempt. But first base umpire Toby Basner said that Nunez's throw got there in time.
Well, the 11th double play turned behind Tyler Duffy. A bang bang play at first. Whoa.
Surprised
that is a bang bang play.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Braves didn't at least look at it. Now pop up wide of first, Mauer across the line, and no play.
A lot of times we'll see a replay, or the other team challenge that maybe, but at least look at it. But the Braves did not.
Couple of runs, bases empty. And strike 1 to Adonis Garcia, who homered for the first Braves run last night in his first at bat.
Yeah, there's a good curveball right there by Duffy. Another thing that Duffy has had trouble with here at Target Field this year, in 8 starts here at home, he's 1-5. Excuse me, he's 2-3 with a 7.2 earned run average.
On a right center field, a hit for Garcia. And cut off in center by Rosario. It is a double. So a walk, 3 hits, so far 2 runs. And that'll bring up Jeff Francoeur. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. They've already been busy tonight. In left field, Robbie Grossman. In center field, Eddie Rosario. Buxton sitting tonight. Danny Santana in right. Max Kepler sitting tonight. Sano, Nunez, Dozier, Mauer, the infielders, and Suzuki behind the plate. Jeff Francoeur, the batter. Here comes Neil Allen. He's going to come to the mound and try to say something that will click for Tyler Duffy.
A little quick trip to the mound by the pitching coach. But you know, yesterday's ball game, there was really nobody that went out to the mound for the Twins.
What were they going to say? Pick up the pace a little bit.
Well, you know what? I like what Ervin Santana said. As soon as he came off, he was hoping that the Twins would at least tie the ball game. And he said, you know, I'm able to go 10 if need be. That was nice to hear by pitching coach Neil Allen.
Here's an interesting stat about the game last night and how the game has changed from when you were beginning your career, maybe less so at the end. Last night's game was the first time a pitcher went 9 innings and lost this year. Now that was a pretty common occurrence.
Oh yes.
Back in you know, the 70s and even into the 80s.
So of all baseball, that's the first time?
First time this year that a starting pitcher went 9 innings and got a loss.
Wow.
1 strike to Francoeur. And a block by Suzuki.
Nice block by Kurt Suzuki.
28 pitches already for Tyler Duffy.
Well, Kurt Suzuki, watch this breaking ball landing where it does in front of the plate. And Suzuki utilizing his chest protector, his glove, just to keep it in front of him.
Francoeur drives it hard to center. Rosario going back. He won't get it. It's gone. And Duffy is getting rocked again in the first inning. 4-0 Atlanta.
One thing I noticed about Jeff Francoeur last night, he was really a diver. He dives into the plate. A couple times he hit balls up the middle off of Santana that he just, ball was away and he dove into that plate. So not looking inside at all. Look at the swing right there, reaching out and hitting this ball sharply. It's a line drive, 2-run home run, and just like that, it's the Braves 4-0 lead for Francoeur, his 6th home run of the year.
And now Inciarte. Ball 1. Two and 0. Another base hit. And Pierzynski will be the 8th man to bat. The Twins did get a complete game from Ervin Santana. They had an off day on Monday, and sadly that might be a factor here on what appears to be a very short start by Tyler Duffy.
Well, one thing Duffy needs to do here is stop the bleeding right here, because as we mentioned, he's been averaging 6 runs per start, but you know that's sometimes that's that 17-5 game and the 13-2 game. Those add up. But no, Duffy, I'm sure not happy at his start right here, but hopefully he can get through this inning and at least give the Twins some more.
Got ahead of Pierzynski, 0-1. And now a breaking ball, and Pierzynski swings over the top, 0-2.
Well, I have been where Duffy has been, and I'll tell you, it's frustrating, and he knows as Michael Tonkin starts to loosen up. But you just hope to get this final out, take a deep breath, and hope that they'll give you another chance, at least another inning, and it's better than this one.
Well, you know, again in Boston, Duffy had that terrible first inning. Then the ball slapped down the left field line, and that'll fall for a hit. An 0-2 single, and Enciardi will be held at third. The Braves still aren't done. They'll send 9 men at least to the plate against Duffy.
Well, there really, sometimes there's nothing you can do about that. Now, Francoeur, he made a mistake. Francoeur hit that ball sharply. This was not a bad pitch, and credit A.J. Pierzynski. He's always been a very good hitter. Watch his reaction right here. I mean, look where that ball was, down and away. Just kind of dropped the bat, and the ball ended up down that left field line.
But don't you wish so many Twins hitters who are very, very strikeout prone would watch a swing like that from Pierzynski and make a note that 2 strikes, just put the bat on the ball, and I might end up at second base.
Well, 19 years AJ's been doing that. He did that with the Twins. You know, he just had good bat control. I still remember that 17 pitch at bat he had in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I mean, but it's not an acquired talent because he had it at a very young age.
Right.
Second and third, 2 down. Here is Ibar, and there is strike 1. This will be the 37th pitch of a nightmarish first inning for Tyler Duffy.
Well, when I said that Santana threw 39 pitches in 5 innings, and I said Duffy may get that in the first, I was only kidding. I didn't mean it.
Well, you could kind of sense it was not going to be a good start for Duffy when he threw, what was it, 11 straight fastballs, and then he finally threw a curve and it got drilled to the gap.
But he walked Peterson to start this inning off, the first hitter. Yeah, that's, you know, cardinal sin.
Another 0-2 count with Duffy desperately trying to get his team off the field. In his Fenway start, he ended up pitching into the 3rd inning, but ran into trouble again in the 3rd and threw only 55 pitches.
Yeah, Braves, you can see already swinging the bat. 4 extra base hits this inning.
And another foul ball, prolonging the first inning. You know, you're down 4-0, and that's tough enough as it is. These are important pitches. He's got to get Ibar out here. A base hit here makes it 6-0 perhaps.
Right.
So, you know, he's throwing a lot of pitches. He's got to find a way to make a really good pitch here. Dug out by Suzuki, and it's 2-2.
Hey, you know, you look at Ibar, 32 years old, spent 10 seasons with the Angels. In his first season with the Braves, having a poor season as far as offense. Came into this year in 10 seasons with the Angels, a 276 hitter. He has struggled, hitting only 215.
On the ground to Dozier. Mercifully, the first inning comes to an end, but the Braves strike for 4 and bat around against Tyler Duffy. sent out there for the second inning or not. Paul Molitor not particularly enjoying interleague play this year with a 6-8 mark. Down 4-0. The Twins will go at it with this Menards batting order. Eduardo Nunez, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Brian Dozier, Kenny Vargas, Eddie Rosario, Robbie Grossman, Kurt Suzuki, and Danny Santana.
Then on the mound for the Braves here tonight, it'll be Mike Foltynewski.
Foltynewicz.
No,
Just like
Foltynewicz.
Minkiewicz, only Foltynewicz.
Foltynewicz making his 12th start. Foltynewicz with a good fastball, clocked in the upper 90s, hard breaking ball, and a changeup.
They say his fastball averages a few ticks over 95. That's his average. So he can bring it almost close to 100. 1-0 to Nunez. There's a fastball at 94. 1-1.
Well, the Twins saw Foltynewicz when he was with the Astros back in 2014. He worked 1 inning out of the bullpen, gave up 3 runs to the Twins, a couple home runs to Vargas and Arcia. Coming over to the Braves in a trade from the Astros.
Hold foul. 2-2.
And I'm going to keep saying it until I get it right. Foltynewicz.
Got it.
All right, thank you. This is his 3rd interleague start of this year for the Braves, and 1 in Kansas City, 1 in Chicago. Total of 15 shutout innings. So he's yet to give up an earned run or a run.
Straight up in the air. Pierzynski back, and no play.
Oh, watch it.
Still 2-2. Both Foltynewicz and Duffy making their 27th major league starts tonight, and Foltynewicz hoping his start will get off to a much better start than Tyler Duffy's.
Foltynewicz with 7 wins, 11 losses. Did a lot of relieving.
Breaking ball lifted foul. Braves are hoping to rebuild their team, but rebuild their rotation, and they're pretty confident this guy Foltynewicz is going to be a part of a good rebuilt starting rotation. Dribbler back toward the mound. Foltynewicz has it, and over to first. Freeman makes the catch. 1 away. 1 down, and now Joe Mauer will bat. The Atlanta defense tonight brought to you by Northland Ford. Peterson in left, Inciarte in center, Markakis in right, Garcia, Ibar, Beckham, Freeman, the infielders. Pierzynski back behind the plate. Peterson made a really nice catch on a Joe Mauer line drive last night, slicing toward the left field corner. Outside, ball 1. And up and away again, 2-0.
It's been a struggle as of late for Joe Mauer.
Tap to the right side, easy play for Freeman. 2 down. That'll bring up Sano. Paul Molitor described the game last night as being kind of sluggish, and without specifying, I think things that stand out for Paul, the fact that last night Miguel Sano 3 times was called out on strikes, and we know Sano loves to swing the bat. It was just, I guess, a sign of sluggishness to the manager. And he's up here with the bases empty and 2 down. Off the middle, hit right into the shift. Beckham behind the second base bag throws him out. And Foltynewicz gets the Twins out 1-2-3 on 10 pitches in the first. was a foul ball right behind home plate. And Nunez popped it up.
Watch AJ go back and follow the ball, but watch the young lady right there. She got hit in the head by that ball, and after the inning, AJ Pierzynski saying, you know, here, young lady, there's a ball, because she did not get it. But very nice gesture by AJ Pierzynski.
A breaking ball over for strike one to Jace Peterson, who drew a walk that started the 4-run first inning. Another off-speed pitch missing, this time 1-1. Fastball inside. You would imagine that Duffy would have the freedom to go as long as he can without getting into further trouble.
Yep.
And that's what happened in Boston. There's a strike 2, 2-2.
A good changeup right there. Peterson could not hold up.
Duffy came back and had a good second inning, but then he ran into trouble again in the third. Never survived the inning. 2-2. Full count.
Control has really never been an issue for Duffy. I mean, he's always had very good control, but he's falling behind and leaving some pitches up. That's a good breaking ball, 3-2 breaking ball.
Came into the ball game tonight, 88 in the third innings, only 22 walks, and then he walked the leadoff guy here tonight. The whole inning just kind of fell apart after that. And now Peterson's up there again with a 3-2 count. Fouled away. We are not seeing swings and misses. We're seeing solid contact and a lot of foul balls. We saw it in Boston, and so far we're seeing it again here tonight. Another 3-2 to Peterson. Driven hard to left center field. Grossman off his glove. It'll go for an extra base hit. Peterson's in at second. Nearly snagged out there in the gap, but another very well hit ball surrendered by Tyler Duffy.
Yeah, another extra base hit for the Braves. So fastball left up. Peterson, good hitting. And Grossman in left field, he ran after this. You can see the location of that ball, but Grossman has to go back. Good angle, but almost made a great catch reaching out. You can see it just tipped the glove. So Peterson picking up a double, his 8th of the year.
And now Beckham. And Michael Tonkin's reprieve in the bullpen lasted one batter into the second. He's up and firing again after the Peterson double. On the outside corner, 1-1. Duffy threw fastball after fastball after fastball, and he finally threw a breaking ball to Beckham, and he crushed it about where Peterson just hit his double.
Well, it looked like he was trying to do the first couple hitters was that two-seam sinking fastball, and he didn't have good control of it.
Changeup gets a ground ball to Nunez. One down.
And it keeps Peterson at second base.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. You can watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
And I say the two-seam fastball, that's the moving fastball away to left-handers, in on righties. And then he has the four-seamer, that's more on the straight side. Good curveball there.
Freeman ended up fighting off a pitch up and in into right field for an RBI single last inning. One strike. And now a swing and a miss again on the breaking ball.
You know, when you're young like Duffy, you mentioned earlier, both starters are 27 major league starts. You're going to have hiccups. You're going to have spurts in your career that are up or down. And this is what makes or breaks a pitcher. I went through it. Believe me, you have outings you don't feel good, don't feel comfortable.
Just out of the reach of power. Santana getting to it quickly. They're sending the runner in. Here's the throw to the plate. And Suzuki did not get the tag. A great slide by Peterson. And it's an RBI single for Freddie Freeman. Paul Molitor with a step out of the dugout. That could be to change pitchers or to perhaps challenge the call at home plate.
I think that's maybe the challenge, because Kurt Suzuki did take a swipe at Peterson as he tried to cross the plate, but he came on the infield side with that slide. And a nice throw by Danny Santana. You can see the uppercut swing by Freeman right over the glove of Mauer. Santana gets behind the ball, makes a good throw. Suzuki in front of the plate. That's a tough play for a catcher to get that ball, that little short hop. Then he reaches out.
Yeah. Never did tag him.
Never tagged him. No.
Tyler Duffy, who in Boston had his shortest start of the season, has one even shorter tonight, just an inning and a third, and he leaves with the Braves already up 5-0. Duffy in Boston in the third inning, and tonight he comes into the ball game in the second inning.
Yeah, in that outing in Boston, he did work 2 in the third innings. Tonkin did, making his 43rd relief appearance. He did give up a home run to Bradley Jr. Jackie Bradley Jr. is only run he gave up in that 13-2 loss to the Red Sox on Thursday. Tonkin, good fastball, hard breaking ball. Pretty good numbers so far. You look at the ERA sometimes, Dick, as relievers, and you see, you know, Michael Tonkin with a 3.83. That's not bad, but most of his runs allowed, he had one outing in Philadelphia here that he gave up 4 runs in an outing, and that really hurts a reliever by the earned run average. Other than that, not bad numbers. 47 innings pitched, only 44 hits, 13 walks. That's very good with 58 strikeouts.
Runner at first, 1 down. Markakis, the batter, he bounced into a double play in the 4-run first inning. And Tonkin starts him wide, ball 1. Markakis's former team, the Baltimore Orioles, will fly in here tonight after their game in Baltimore. Play 1 game tomorrow, and then they fly back to Toronto tomorrow night to make up a game that was rained out in April.
Markakis has always hit well, but in interleague play, a .324 hitter, top 5 of active players.
1 and 2.
Markakis, very good hitter. I mean, he had 9 seasons with the Orioles, a career .280, .290 hitter. I think all those years, even though the Orioles have always had, you know, great players, I always thought, why did this guy never make an all-star team? Oh, nice catch by Suzuki.
Markakis early in his career had more power than he's shown now. He had .306, 20 home runs, 87 runs batted in 08, and 07 actually drove in 112. goes the runner, swung on and missed. Throw to second, not in time. So Markakis having a tough night at the plate. He's made 3 of the 5 outs. Twin staff has recorded Freeman stealing second base on strike 3.
Yeah, Freeman stealing his 4th base, and that's one thing that clubs do with Tonkin on the mound. That's 10 stolen bases off of Tonkin in 11 attempts. Not very good at holding on base runners. So Freeman gets into scoring position with that stolen base.
And now Garcia. Garcia has been swinging a red-hot bat and a powerful bat. The Twins have found out about that with the home run last night, a ringing double in his first inning at bat here tonight. 1 strike. And now 2 strikes.
Couple stints for Garcia with the Braves this year. Originally signed by the Yankees, was released by the Yankees back in 2015 at the end of spring training, and then signed with the Braves.
And Tonkin comes in, blows a fastball by Garcia to end the inning. Braves add 1 more and lead 5-0.
To nothing, leading the Twins. Trevor Plouffe has been out since July 2nd with a fractured rib, but he is making progress. He's the subject of our Sanford Health injury report. Plouffe started baseball activities again last Friday. He's been hitting off a tee and taking ground balls and said he does not feel any pain at all. Plouffe is scheduled to take live batting practice on Saturday, and assuming all goes well with that, he'll head out on a rehab assignment sometime next week. Dick and Bert.
Well, thank you, Marty. And then, of course, when he does come back, the intrigue will be who's going to be at third base. Trevor, if he's going to play, is almost limited to playing third base, although he can play some first base as well. A very high pop-up near the Braves dugout. Pierzynski will play. The camera actually got in the way. Looked like Pierzynski, if the camera had not been there, would have been able to reach over the railing and extend himself a little bit, but the camera was there, so Dozier's got another swing.
Good
boy.
Good placement of the camera right there. Watch AJ go over.
Now Mike Pigeon added to the challenge there for Pierzynski by tilting the camera up. That's a very shrewd move. No, pop up down the right field line. Markakis after it. And Mike could not pick up his camera and run down the right field line fast enough to affect Markakis' attempt to make the catch 1 away. And then That'll bring up Vargas.
A nice running catch by Markakis out in right field. It went a long way for that ball.
We talked about Plouffe's imminent return, at least to more baseball activity, and the hopeful return of Trevor Plouffe. The Twins have been paying attention to Byung-Ho Park in Rochester too, with 5 home runs in 7 games. He's not striking out as often. Paul Molitor saying today that he's catching up with velocity better down there than he did up here. And so the Twins haven't forgotten about Park, but then what do you do with Kenny Vargas? 13 hits, 12 of them for extra base hits.
You're going to create a log jam. That's what you're going to create.
Well, you need to figure out who you want to get most of the at-bats next year. And the only way to do that is to give all of them at-bats this year. Twins are into Park for 2 more years after this year. 2-2 to Vargas. Slash to left field. Peterson running over, won't get there. It's a base hit. And Foltynewicz holds Vargas to a single. 14 hits, 12 extra base hits, and the Twins have their first base runner.
And that's what we have seen Vargas do since being called up in early July, making better contact. Foltynewicz ahead in the count, came back with a fastball, and he just put the ball in play, almost shades of A.J. Brzezinski, what A.J. did.
Here's Eddie Rosario. If you're thinking, well, the Twins need to start swinging the bats and hit some home runs here against Foltynewicz, he's only allowed 12 this year, and 4 of those were in Philadelphia, so I don't even know if those count. Strike 1 at the belt.
Well, he has an overpowering fastball. We've seen the 94, 95, maybe higher.
Out of left center field, Enciarte retreats a couple of steps.
There's a 97 right there.
2 down.
But I don't see a lot of movement out of that fastball. So if he lays one down the middle, hopefully Twins can get a long ball.
Robbie Grossman will bat, the left fielder today. Grossman out of the Astro organization. Foltynewicz out of the Astro organization.
Yeah, Foltynewicz, Astros #1 pick back in 2010.
Had some elbow problems as recently as June of this year. 1 strike to Grossman.
He had right shoulder surgery last year in September. And that rib removed.
Thing that Phil Hughes had done. And now Matt Harvey also getting it done. 1-1 to Grossman. Checked his swing and took ball 2. Braves have beaten the Twins 6 straight times. The last 3 games played here, the 3 in Atlanta a few years ago. Twins have 2 games to play down there in 3 weeks. Popped up left side of the infield. Garcia with the catch. Turns out A.J. Pierzynski was just paying it forward. Mike Pigeon, our cameraman, giving him a baseball. first inning of work. He had to pick up a couple of strikeouts to keep the damage to a minimum in the second inning. It's 5-0. All 5 runs charged to Tyler Duffy, who only lasted an inning and a third.
Yeah, Michael Tonkin's longest outing this year, they came back in April in Washington, where he worked 3 innings. So he's gone 2 or more innings a handful of times.
Outside, ball 1.
Good fastball there.
One and one. Francoeur, Inciarte, and Pierzynski in the Atlanta third inning.
Yeah, that 2-run home run by Francoeur measured at 15 feet straightaway center.
Not sure it got more than 35 feet in the air on its way out there.
There's a liner.
Wow. 1 and 2. Into short left. Grossman coming in, and that's a base hit. Like Grossman got confused there a bit with Francoeur taking a big swing. He didn't hit it very hard. It looked like his first step might have been backward before he came forward.
I think you're absolutely right. You know, you see the big swing as an outfielder, you're thinking that ball is going to be hit, you know, a lot further than it did, and by the time he was able to come in, the ball got jammed a little bit. But Francoeur picks up his second hit. 9 hits already for the Braves.
Here's Inciarte. The Braves stole a base on Tonkin in the second. Freeman stealing second. Now Francoeur doesn't run particularly well to start with, but Tonkin checks him anyway. Fouled away, 1 strike. You know, we've talked about the '91 World Series and the Braves and Twins playing in that great World Series, and the Twins paying homage to the World Series and the players involved a little bit in this 2-game series. But the Braves are making a big deal of it this weekend in Atlanta. They're bringing in a lot of the main cogs of that National League Championship team this weekend. Twins using special bases here. Hold foul. The irony is that the Braves are saying goodbye to Turner Field, and the '91 World Series was, I mean, that was played at the old place.
Yeah.
So the Braves are replacing Turner Field. 25 years ago, the Twins played a World Series. Dan Gladden scored the winning run, of course, in Game 7. But they never played that at Turner Field. Now a ball hit to left center field.
Oh,
diving catch by Rosario in the gap. Eddie Rosario closed on it and snagged it in the gap. One
Tell
away.
you what, we have a great view right here, and the fans that are sitting in this area, you look at where that ball was hit, you're thinking it's an extra base hit. But Eddie Rosario got a great jump, slides for it, and makes a nice catch.
And now Pierzynski. Tonkin happy that Rosario made a hit-saving catch. Here's Pierzynski taking ball 1, an 0-2 pitch in the first inning. And Pierzynski just stuck the bat out and dropped a double down the left field line.
Oh, what a jump. Won't even throw it.
Suzuki came out of the crouch to throw. No infielder even bothered going to the bag. Francoeur with a steal.
Yeah, second stolen base. Watch Francoeur right here. He just took off. Michael Tonkin probably didn't even look over. So the second stolen base against Tonkin.
Ground ball right side. Dozier has an easy play. 2 down. We'll bring up Ibar. Join Fox Sports North at the next viewing party Wednesday, August 3rd, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at JJ's Clubhouse in Minneapolis. You can watch the Twins take on Cleveland. Enjoy food and drink specials. Register for tickets and prizes and more. Visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar. Here's Ibar, made the last out of the first inning, and now Tonkin will try to make sure he makes the last out of the third inning. Now you look at Tonkin's pitches, you know, a good fastball, at times a dominant breaking ball, 58 strikeouts in 47 innings. But the one thing that would keep the Twins, or anybody else for that matter, from assigning him late inning duty is what we've seen come into play here tonight, his inability or unwillingness to hold runners.
Yeah, again, 11 stolen bases off of him in 12 tries. That's not good.
1-1 to Ibar. Remember a couple of years ago, the Twins had a good relief pitcher, Jared Burton, but Burton had kind of the same issue going where he just didn't do a good job of holding runners, and as a result, guys get on, steal second, and it creates a lot of run scoring opportunities. 2-1.
Oh, Michael has the advantage of is he can get strikeouts, which you mentioned, the 58 strikeouts.
Right. But now, I mean, this is a case in point. Francoeur didn't hit the ball well, but he dropped a single in front of the left fielder. But even Francoeur stole a base, ends up at third.
Well, and if you look back, the ball that AJ hit, AJ not the quickest of foot getting down, that might have been a double play.
Right. And now 3-2 to the number 9 batter. High fly, deep center field. Rosario going back, and he makes the catch. Lead off single, a stolen base. Francoeur left at third. Still 5-0 thanks to Rosario making a nice catch in the gap. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. Mike Foltynewicz handed an early 5-0 lead. Kurt Suzuki will lead off for the Twins in the third.
Yeah, good pitch count so far, 26 pitches for Foltynewicz.
Strike one. Santana and Nunez will follow. Foltynewicz has given up 3 runs or less in 8 of his last 10 starts. So the Twins have an uphill climb, to say the least. But away 1-1. sharply through the hole. And Suzuki starts the third with a single.
Yeah, fastball that stayed middle in, and Suzuki, who has shown he can handle that that fastball at 95 plus, but good piece of hitting right there by Suzuki. Twins' second hit.
Carsoup.com trivia question: who are the 4 Twins players to have a game-winning RBI in the '91 World Series? They're trying to tell us that we have to get all 4, and the rules have been established for a long time.
Yeah.
We need to only get 1, and I'll go with Gene Larkin. Yeah. Here's Santana. Now ball 1 to Santana.
Well, who hit that one in Game 6 to create Game 7? Who hit that home run?
It's a stumper.
Yeah.
And now a strike called. 1-1.
If we can figure out that guy's name, we get a bonus for tomorrow. I'm going to guess Kirby Puckett.
So then games 1 and 2. I think I know game 1. Oh, chip bat. Foul. Actually, I know game 2.
Right off the end of the bat.
1 and 2 to Santana. Santana getting a start, Andy in right field. Max Kepler's been there pretty much every game for a month and a half. Kepler grounded out 4 times to the right side. See 3 of the bench players there: Kepler, Buxton, and Centeno. 1 and 2. Popped up near third. Easy catch for Garcia. 1 down. Let's go back to game 1. Gagne with a home run in game 1.
Nice going, yo. Greg Gagne.
Got a home run in the '87 World Series too. I don't know how many players can say that they got a home run in 2 different World Series, but Gagne of all people is on the list. Here is Nunez. Hit a number back to the mound his first time up. And a strike. Chopped foul. We know you were a big part of the '87 World Championship team, and by 1991 you had left the organization. How closely did you watch that World Series?
Oh, I watched it. I mean, all 7 games, as I usually do. I always watch the World Series, no matter who's ever in it.
2 strikes to Nunez. Twins trying to build an inning here, chip away at a 5-run deficit. Chopper to third, foul.
3 straight breaking balls to Nunez.
The young man hoping that he can see the Twins in the World Series sometime soon. He's got a souvenir from this game. Two strikes. Driven to right. Caught by Markakis. Greg Gagne talked about the keys to winning both in 1987 and 1991.
Wow, we had a good solid guy in Blyleven in '87, and Jack, a veteran player that's been there. That there's no other guy that you want in that moment. And I don't know if the Twins brass were thinking that at that time, but I think they were, because you need a veteran to anchor the staff. And Jack just he just did an outstanding job. And
here's Mauer with a runner on and 2 out, strike 1.
Yeah, that's so important that, you know, in '91, I came back in 1985 to the Twins and, you know, kind of, I think, helped Frank Viola a lot get to the Cy Young Award in 1988. But, you know, Jack's presence, he was only there 1 year, but I like what he said when he came in, you know, with Chili Davis, that they knew what they were going to be the leaders. They were going to be the leaders of not only, you know, Jack on the pitching staff, but Chili's presence in the lineup, how he protected Herbeck and Puckett and other guys in the lineup. So, yeah, the Twins made some good moves to get some veterans in there to help lead the way.
2 strikes to Mauer. Suzuki still at first after his leadoff single. And a base hit to right. Joe turning on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball and pulling it into the hole.
Boy, that's good to see, because Joe had really been struggling as far as catching up to that fastball. I've seen so many fastballs hit over the third base dugout, but here fastball stayed middle in, and Joe turning quickly and hitting it sharply through the infield. Third hit for the Twins, second this inning.
And now Sano hit a ground ball to second, his first time up.
Yeah, he jumped on that first fastball that came running in on him and hit that ground ball right up the middle, but they were shading him up the middle. Beckham, where he's shading him now.
Yep.
Again, straight up the middle.
Checked his swing, ball 1.
I think after last night striking out 3 times on call third strikes, I think Tom Bernansky or Rudy Hernandez probably said, you know what, if you strike out, I want you swinging
Like that.
like that. Yep.
1-1. The 3 strikeouts last night brought Sano's total to 102 in 260 at bats. Chris Davis of the Orioles is leading the American League with 135 strikeouts. Mike Napoli 131. Justin Upton 120.
Well, right now that's kind of Sano's game. I mean, he has the power, 15 home runs. He's driven in 38 runs. Strikeouts are a part of his game, but when he makes contact, hopefully it's right here, he can hit it a long way.
1-2. And now 2-2. Molitor said today, you know, they'd like to think that they can tighten some of that up with Sano and bring his strikeout frequency down in time. Now in the dirt, a take on a breaking ball, and it's a full count. The runners will leave early.
And a good take right there, so runners will be running. Not a lot of speed on the base paths with Suzuki and Mauer, but they can score easily on a 3-run home run.
See if Foltynewicz gives Sano his mid-90s fastball, or whether he spins the ball up there.
We'll see what AJ wants, because I'm going to see anybody shake off. I don't think AJ.
And a check swing on a breaking ball got him, and the Twins leave 2 aboard in the 3rd.
Target Field with some special guests here at the ballpark. It's Max and Val, dancers from Dancing with the Stars, who are touring. Their tour is called Our Way, live on tour tomorrow night at the State Theater. Val, tell me about this tour.
This tour is, first of all, it's a dream come true. I get to share the stage with my way older sibling, Max. But in the process, we get to tell our life story through dance, through performance, and for us, the biggest gift is to be able to give back to our parents, to our community, to our city, to this country, to our country that has given us the opportunity to pursue our dreams and now realize those dreams on stage. It's a 50-city tour, and we've been received so well. It's so humbling to have audiences all around the country kind of embrace our story and feel inspired. We truly feel blessed, and blessing isn't realized until it's passed forward. So this is our kind of way of passing that inspiration forward to another set of siblings, hopefully, that will create their own way.
We love having you here at the ballpark tonight, but your brother's from Russia. Max, what do these brothers, Ukraine, through Russia, know about this beautiful American game of baseball?
We know a lot, because we actually are American citizens for about 23 years now, and this is America's favorite pastime. We appreciate it. It requires a lot of skill that I personally don't possess, and I love watching action in this game. I think there you go. I think things.
So you thought that was coming this way?
I was hoping it was coming. Yeah. Well, listen, this is what it's all about. This is the it's packed house. It's amazing. People coming together, gathering, rooting. I mean, taking their mind off some stupid things that happen nowadays out there, that we turn it to television on. Some things are happening that we don't like, and this is awesome. Take your mind off.
We're just enjoying a baseball game. We love the Twins shirts. Appreciate yeah, there they are, Max and Val with their customized Twins jerseys. Exactly. Dick and Bert, I showed them my signature move. However, I do not think it's going to make it into the touring show tomorrow night at State Theater.
Please.
There you go, Marty. Do it. Well, thank you, Marty. And good luck to those young men.
One down in the fourth. Peterson striking out, and now Beckham strike.
Can you dance, Dick? Are you a good dancer?
Privately, yes.
I
I'd like
cannot.
to think.
I probably should go to Fred Astaire school. Marty's having fun.
We in elementary school, now granted we had just 7 kids in the whole school, we would do the Virginia Reel, which involves generally more people than we had enrolled in school.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's
is it a polka like?
No, you go through like an archway formed by the other dancers, and all the, it's a long time ago. But when you only have 7 kids in the whole school,
and they're all boys.
No, that's not true. 1-2. 2-2. I can imagine the Virginia Reel would be a lot of fun with like 14, 16 kids.
Okay.
But got bored with it in a hurry.
Well, Tonkin doing a good job. 3 strikeouts. He's given up only 1 hit.
Just missed the corner.
A couple times he's thrown that fastball right there. Not getting the call.
3-2 to Beckham. RBI double in the first. Bouncer to short in the second.
And another fastball.
Driven to the right field corner. Twisting foul. You don't need a glove. Bring your cap. Very nice. Freeman will follow. He missed again, down and away.
First to walk for Tonkin.
Join us for the first ever Twins Women's Baseball Clinic, sponsored by Mayo Clinic at Target Field on Saturday. This exclusive clinic is intended for young adults and adult women interested in improving their baseball skills and having fun at Target Field. No baseball experience is necessary. For more information and to register, visit twinsbaseball.com/women's clinic or call 612-659-3508. Tonkins picked up 2 innings worth of work, the last 2 outs of the second, all 3 outs of the third, 1 here in the fourth. Fastball outside, ball 1.
Talking with that big frame, 6'7", about 220. Trying to utilize that slide step, a throw over to first. Beckham at first base, like Frank Coor, not someone that's going to try to steal a base. Beckham with only 1 stolen base in his only attempt. Frank Coor stealing his second base last inning.
Trevor May starting to get loose. He'll back up Tonkin apparently. That pitch missed. 2-0. Twins playing pretty good baseball into and out of the break against some of the best teams in baseball, but they are certainly struggling here against the Braves, the team with the worst record. High fly to deep center. Rosario back at the wall, and that ball is gone. A home run. A towering drive to the batter's eye in center field.
Remember, I said in his first at bat, I like watching him because he's got that short, quick, compact swing, and we've seen that uppercut swing in last night's ball game, and you're going to great look at it here. His 3rd hit of the ball game, his 18th home run. My oh my, he hit this ball high and far. Fastball down, that uppercut swing.
That is an uppercut swing.
Yes,
you see where the
is.
bat is, where contact was, and where the bat finished. Wow.
And Rosario went back, and he knew he had no room. My goodness. That's about where Frank Coor's line drive home run went. So I'm going to say that was about 415 feet.
Watch the barrel from there to there. Freeman's 18th of the year. He's driven in 4 runs on a 3-for-3 night. We're only in the top of the 4th. 2-0 to Markakis.
And for Michael Tonkin, that's his 5th home run that he has allowed. Excuse me, that's his 8th home run he's allowed.
Strike on the outside corner. And out of the backstop. 7-0. The Braves have scored at least 1 in every inning but the 3rd.
Well, you mentioned before the Twins, you know, they have lost to the Braves 6 straight times, and that's going back to 2010.
The last 2 games here, then the 3 in Atlanta, and the first one last night. Things aren't off to a very good start here tonight.
Yeah, of course, with interleague play, the Twins first saw the Braves here in 2002. Then 2007 they came here again. 2010 they came here again. And in 2013 Twins went to Atlanta, and they'll go 2 more games in Atlanta after this.
Two and 2. Braves struggling, particularly in the home run department, but not here, not in this series. 2 home runs again tonight. Brian Snitker, 40 years in the Braves organization. Good friend of ours, Randy Bush, both out of the University of New Orleans. Foul tip, and Markakis not enjoying his return to Minnesota. 2 down. Paul Molitor is going to come out and make a move here. Coors Light, cold hard facts. Look at what the Braves did in the 90s, starting of course in the 1990 season through all those division championships, which extended into the next decade. been the closest thing we have to a dynasty. Now, maybe not a pitching change here. Paul Molitor checking with Tonkin, and now they will make a change here. Tonkin will come out with 2 gone in the 4th inning. Trevor May will pitch next for the Twins. Duffy's knocked out in the 2nd, and now in the 4th after the 2nd strikeout out of the inning, and the score mushrooming to 7-0. Trevor May becomes the 3rd Twins pitcher.
Yeah, Trevor May last pitched on Sunday in Boston, 2 1/3 innings of shutout baseball. Had a walk, a couple strikeouts, and the Twins 8-7 loss. He threw 36 pitches. Trevor, a strikeout pitcher, as you can see, 48 strikeouts for May.
Adonis Garcia, who doubled and scored in the 1st, struck out in the 2nd, will face May.
48 strikeouts and 35 innings pitched for Trevor May.
Coming in, 1-0. As we mentioned, he's been swinging a red-hot bat, a 9-game hitting streak with a lot of damage done. 400 batting average and 3 home runs, including the one last night. 1-1. Sent it inside again and missed. 2-1. Base hit to center. 11th hit for the Braves. And there are only 2 outs in the 4th inning. There have only been 11 outs recorded by Twins pitching.
He fought off a fastball right there. Picks up his 2nd hit. Garcia does.
And now Jeff Francoeur pummeled a Tyler Duffy pitch for a 2-run home run in the 1st, and then singled and ended up at 3rd base in the 3rd. Mentioned it last night. The Braves, an interesting mix of promising young players and then veterans like Francoeur and Beckham. And the presumption all along is that the Braves would be active before the trading deadline. They were active today. Lucas Harrell, who pitched 6 shutout innings last night for the Braves, was dealt today along with one of their left-handed relievers to the Texas Rangers. Got a Double-A prospect. Alvarez and Harrell going to the Rangers, and Travis Demeritte coming to the Atlanta Braves. It's interesting, though, because Harrell and Alvarez weren't with the team, the Braves, at the start of the year, so the Braves spun those two players that are new to them, they didn't have any equity with anyway, and got a prospect out of it. Swing and a miss. Francoeur strikes out, the inning ends. But Freddie Freeman hits a 2-run home run to expand the lead to 7. It's because he has. A.J. Pierzynski is on a pretty select list of catchers who've caught more than 1,900 games. Now, he won't catch Ivan Rodriguez, at least I don't think he will. But he'll pass Jim Sundberg, and he might pass Brad Ausmus, and he might pass Tony Pena.
Yeah, 39 years old. Again, 19 seasons. A.J., of course, started with the Twins. Very durable back there.
Always wants to play, and the biggest challenge Ron Gardenhire had when he was with the Twins, dealing with A.J. when he didn't put him in the lineup. Dozier wraps one down the left field line, and it's a base hit. Dozier will round first and go to second. Dozier with a ground ball double to start the 4th.
Yeah, Fulton Evans leaving a pitch up. Looked like a high breaking ball. And Bryant hits it right down that third baseline past Garcia into that corner. First extra base hit for the Twins on their 4th hit. For Dozier, his 19th double. That leads the Twins.
And now Vargas singled his first time up. And a liner to Beckham. And Dozier stays close to the bag. A soft line drive, one away, and that'll bring up Rosario. Remember when Pierzynski first appeared with the Twins back in 1998, and then again in 1999. And I think everyone thought that he would break camp with the Twins in 2000. And not only did the Twins not bring him north from Fort Myers, they sent him to Double-A. And he spent most of the year there playing for another former catcher who was a Twins minor league manager at the time, John Russell, who's now Clint Hurdle's right-hand man with the Pirates and a former Pirate manager himself. And I asked John once, I said, what impressed you about Pierzynski and how'd that year go? Here's a guy who thought he was going to be starting catcher for a major league club, and instead he was at Double-A. And John gave me a very peculiar answer, but I think in a way it explains why Pierzynski's still catching. Here's a drive to right center field. Markakis going back and over. That ball's off the wall and dies on the warning track. Dozier will score, and Rosario will pull up at second with an RBI double. A pair of doubles. The Twins are on the board here in the 4th.
Now Rosario with his 10th double, knocking in his 17th run. He caught up to one of those low fastballs and got good wood on it. A.J. wanting it about near the letters, and that ball about thigh high. And Rosario opening up quickly, hitting it high off the wall. And Dozier scoring from second base.
And now Grossman.
I think you have to remember too, A.J. signed by the Twins out of high school.
Right.
It wasn't like, you know, he played a couple years of college ball. So, you know, out of Orlando, he's just a youngster learning the trade of catching.
Well, here was a former catcher, John Russell, and the answer he gave me when I asked him about Pierzynski was peculiar. But again, I think it helps explain why he's on the chart we just showed you. He said he's got a really good memory. And you don't think about, we think about the physical tools of a catcher. And you talked about at length last night about how you've always liked how A.J. calls a game. Well, central to that is having a good memory. Here's a ball off the shin guard and up the first baseline, and Rosario will gain third base.
That'll be a wild pitch right there. Hard breaking ball, had a lot of spin on it, and A.J. tried to get in front of it, but could not.
To remember how to get somebody out, you've gotten them out successfully in the past. It requires a good memory.
Looked like it hit his right shin guard and deflected away.
1-2 infield back. And Grossman needs to make sure that Rosario scores in his at bat.
You know, and if you watch the pitcher-catcher relationship, you don't see the pitcher shaking off that often with A.J.
2-2.
Fulton Nevich just kind of looked and he said, okay, you want a curveball, I'll throw you a curveball, and it's a strikeout curveball.
Hear from A.J. about what he remembers about his time in the Twins organization.
It means a lot to me. People keep asking me that. I could not be prouder or happier than I was coming up in this organization, the Twins, because of the way they taught us and what they taught us, and how they made us believe that the fundamentals were the best thing in the world. And they did an amazing job. If you look at the players that came through here when I was here, and some of the players are still out there playing. So, I mean, it's pretty awesome.
There's a drive to left field off the bat of Suzuki, and gone, a home run. A big pick-me-up for Kurt Suzuki, teeing off and hitting a two-run home run.
Well, the Kurt Suzuki fan club here. And with those stitches in that chin, see if he'll smile. He said, told Marnie that it's a little hard to smile. He's got something to smile about there, but his 6th home run of the year.
3 extra base hits and 3 runs here in the 4th for the Twins.
Jumping on that first breaking ball. Good solid swing by Suzuki. Twins have put 3 on the board here in the bottom of the 4th.
You can see Suzuki using that axe-handled bat. That fan didn't have the expertise with the baseball cap that the fan down the right field line had an inning or so ago. That's a 7-3 game, and we're in the bottom of the 4th. 2 strikes to Santana. And now 1-2. About Suzuki's bat, he broke it. He had 3 of them, the axe-handled bats, and he broke them and had to go through the last road trip, most of the road trip, without his special bat. Took him a while to get the new bats here to Minnesota. There's a dribbler back toward the mound, and Fulton Nevich throws Santana out. The inning starts with a double. There was another double and then a home run, and Twins have drawn to within 7-3.
in the Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle. We have $100 worth of scratch-off tickets for our birthday guy tonight with his family. They're all acknowledging a time period from Dave's life. On the end, that's Dave the Boy Scout, Dave the snowboarder, Dave the dad, Dave the husband, Dave finding himself in high school, naturally, and Dave himself, who turned 30 years old yesterday. This is quite the effort to go to, Dave, to help you celebrate tonight.
Well, I have to give all the credit to my wife.
The snowboarder.
The snowboarder. Rightfully so. And yeah, very creative. It was a surprise. I was out to just go to the ball game with my family, and then all of a sudden they all came dressed like weirdos, which are me. So it makes a lot of sense.
Well, you're taking it like a good sport. And may I just give a specific nod to the Miami Vice cat shirt. Dave finding himself in high school. I mean, the effort there is really impressive. Congratulations, happy birthday, and $100 worth of scratch-off tickets, and a circle from Bert. How about that for our 30th?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you.
Happy 30th. And nice to have family and friends do that for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
He said he found himself in high school. When did you find yourself?
I'm still looking, Dick.
Are you?
I'm still looking.
I had a period of,
I don't know if I'll ever find myself.
the mid-70s.
You found yourself?
I think I did. And I don't think I liked what I found.
Oh.
So
Well, I would keep looking then. That's probably not what you want.
1 and 2. And a ball rolled foul. One and 2. As the Twins have cut the lead back to 4.
Yeah,
they really want to make sure that they don't give up any more runs here.
I was going to say, big inning right here for Trevor May.
1 and 2 to NCRT. It's down the left field line, chased by Grossman, but it's back in the seats.
Into NCRT, just one of those hitters, kind of a slap type hitter, not much power. His job is to get on base. He leads the Braves in stolen bases with 11.
Pierzynski will follow, and then Ibar.
NCRT coming over from the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he spent 2014 season with them.
A defensive swing, but he got a piece. May's thrown 14 pitches, 11 strikes. .2-mile-per-hour fastball. The next couple months are going to be really important for Trevor May. It's been a disappointing year for Trevor. Injuries a part of it. Some back issues.
He had some spasms in that lower back that put him on a disabled list.
Bouncer to first.
Get over there.
Mauer gets to the bag, 1 down.
Yeah, May a little slow getting over there, so Joe had to take it himself.
Run or skate in the RBC Race for the Kids Minnesota Half Marathon and 6K, benefiting Ronald McDonald House Charities Upper Midwest, Saturday, August 6th. For more details, visit foxsportsnorth.com and click on upcoming events. Here's Pierzynski. Dumped a double down the left field line on an 0-2 pitch in the first, and then grounded out to Dozier in the third. Outside, ball 1. In his 22nd year, 23rd year of professional baseball.
Twins' number 3 pick back in 1994.
On the ground, foul.
He's always done a good job. He doesn't draw a lot of walks. This year, only 4 walks and 202 at-bats. Only 24 strikeouts. Usually puts the ball in play. Good changeup right there. AJ way out front. We've seen this before. AJ will have some ugly swings, but then he'll come back and you make a mistake, he'll rope it somewhere.
Well, and then it was an ugly swing, wasn't it, that got him in the double in the first inning.
Right. Kind of a protect the plate swing.
We got a glimpse of what Pierzynski would do at the plate in 2002. It was a division championship season for the Twins. AJ, a big part of that. But in that year, he only walked 13 times and was hit 11 times. That's the closest I've ever seen to a guy, major league player, being hit almost as often as he walked. Strikeout here, 2 down.
And May picking up his second strikeout. Good changeup down and away that AJ went fishing after. So a tough guy to strike out, but May able to get him to chase his changeup. Or maybe a breaking ball right there. Anyway, something out of the strike zone.
Recently as 2013, Pierzynski drew 11 walks with the Rangers, over 500 at bats, 11 walks, and he was hit 9 times. Lifted foul over the Braves dugout. 2 down here in the 5th, and May would like to get Ibar here, get the Twins back up to the bat rack as quickly as he can. And over for a strike, 0-2. Outside.
Yeah, Ibar, 32 years old, the brother of Willie Ibar, who played 5 seasons in the major leagues with the Dodgers, the Braves. He was with the Braves back in 2006, and the Tampa Bay Rays. Scrappy little players.
Chip shot over by the tarp and out of play. It just seemed like they were there probably longer than they actually were. But Howie Kendrick at second, Eric Ibar at short for the Angels, and now they're both gone. One and 2. High fastball got him. So May has a 1-2-3 fifth. The Twins will have the top of their lineup up in the bottom of the 5th, trying to further trim back the 4-run lead. Night as good and deep as the start was for Ervin Santana was just as painful and short for Tyler Duffey here today. He only got 4 outs. Nunez takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Nunez 0 for 2. Hit a line drive to Markakis his last time up.
Yeah, Fulton Nevich now with 60. This will be 64 pitches. So the pitch count's still good. Neil Allen talking to Tyler Duffey. You know, the thing I noticed about Tyler Duffey, and I was not there in Boston, but really flying open with that left shoulder. And when that flies open, you know, he's a control type pitcher, especially with that curveball. If that flies open, which I knew I did a lot too. You have to keep that shoulder in, and that creates a tighter curveball and better control.
Well, for a while, Eric Rasmussen, when he was in the job that Neil Allen has resumed, liner to center. Nunez starts the inning with a base hit. Eric Rasmussen, and I mean, you know, you've been missing some telecasts, so maybe we didn't have a chance to discuss it much, but Eric Rasmussen looked at video and saw that Duffey had stopped stepping across his body and that he was trying to drive more towards home plate, but that forced his upper torso to open up quicker.
Exactly.
So they closed that up, and for whatever reason, the last couple starts, the results haven't been very good at all. Now Mauer with a base hit his last time up, pulled a 96-mile-per-hour fastball into right field. Outside, ball 1.
Well, Duffey is a guy that's not going to get a lot of strikeouts on an overpowering fastball, so he has to hit his spots, and then that sets up the curveball. But you know, walking Peterson to lead off the ball game, and then Beckham's RBI double, and then, you know, 6 hits later he gave up 4 runs in the first inning. That again is going to happen, but what you want to do is come back and say, okay, that's behind me, but he was unable to do that in the second inning.
Not trying to connect any dots, but coincidentally, Jose Barrios made the start tonight in Rochester, went 6 innings, took the loss, gave up 3 runs, 6 hits, 8 strikeouts.
He's been pitching good baseball.
Yes, he has. There's a drive to the left field corner. That's down for a hit. Rounding second, going to third. Nunez will go to third base, and the throw coming to the cutoff man, the shortstop, allowing Mauer to take second on a double.
Good to see Joe have 2 very good at-bats. He singled in the 3rd inning where he pulled that ball between first and second into right field. Here gets a fastball away, exactly where A.J. wanted it. But Joe, as he does so well, driving that ball down the left field line. Peterson chases it. And by the time he could get it back in, Nunez hustling the 3rd, and Mauer in with a double, his 10th of the year on his 2nd hit.
Situations like this now is what Paul Molitor was talking about regarding Sano. Now the Twins would love to see a 3-run home run or a 2-run single, but the Braves are giving Sano a run batted in here, and if he gets to 2 strikes, the Twins want Sano to work harder on putting the ball in play. Ball 1. Now before you get to 2 strikes, go ahead and see if you can hit one into the 3rd deck. No one's going to complain about that. But the Twins, after scoring 3 in the 4th, have a great chance to jump right back into the ball game here in the 5th. Swing and a miss. Another pitch, breaking ball away. That's the pitch that struck him out in the 3rd.
Because it was a fastball situation, that's where A.J. said, you know what, we're not giving him a fastball.
Fastball situation at Double-A.
Right.
1-1. Now fouled away, 1-2.
But you have to be ready for the fastball, and he fouled that one off.
And this is what Paul was talking about this afternoon. Okay, let's try to tone things down a little bit. Hit a ground ball to the left side, and a run will score.
Easier said than done
I know
when
that.
you're an aggressive type hitter like Sano.
But that's how you drive in 100 runs or more a year, by executing. Very high, and it's 2-2. And it does take time, and Sano still just a little bit north of 500 at bats in the big leagues. Grounder to right side and through for a base hit, and he'll drive 2 home. put the ball in play, and Sano's got to hustle to get back to the bag. He does, and it's a 7-5 ball game.
That's just a little surprise right there. They tried to sneak a fastball by him, and a good at-bat by Sano, making contact with that fastball. And kind of protecting the plate because he just didn't make contact. That's exactly what Paul Molitor was talking about.
Put it in play.
Put it in play. You can see the shift. Beckham playing up the middle. Nobody there. Nunez scores. Mauer scores. And it's a 7-5 ball game.
Fox Tracks was presented by Chrysler, and now Dozier coming to the plate as the tying run. The Twins catching up in the hit department. They've got 9 hits. The Braves 11. In the middle innings now, the Twins have 6 hits in 9 at bats against Foltynewicz. Dozier with a fly to right. He bounced a double down the left field line, starting the 4th inning. Swing and a miss, 1 strike. Ian Kroll, veteran left-handed reliever, getting loose. Popped up right side.
We hung that curveball. Bryant just got underneath it.
Beckham underneath it. Now he'll give way to Markakis. 1 away. And now Vargas. Vargas with a single to left. And a ground ball to short. Excuse me, a line drive, a soft line drive.
They just showed that replay back of that hanging breaking ball, and Dozier's reaction was like, oh, wow. He should have hit that ball maybe a long way.
Vargas takes a breaking ball in the dirt. Three home runs for Vargas, 2 of them from this side of the plate. Changeup on the outside corner, 1-1.
For Vargas, 2 of his 3 home runs coming in Texas against the Rangers. His first home run hit here against the Oakland A's back in his 2nd game back on July 5th.
Pulled down the line and foul.
Butch Davis has to get out of the way.
One and 2. Got him. Kicking ball down and in, 2 down.
Yeah, good pitch right there. Good hard breaking ball.
And now Rosario.
Foltynewicz picking up his 3rd strikeout.
Rosario doubled off the fence in right center his last time up. Backhanded by Pierzynski. Twins playing their 100th game of the year tonight. 37 wins, 62 losses. Up high, 2-0. And a strike at the bell.
A high curveball.
Braves got the first 7 runs tonight. Twins trying to get things tied up.
You can see where 3 is, up in the strike zone.
Tap to the right side. Freeman with a nice pickup, and they get the force at second. Inning starts with 3 hits. Twins get a couple runs back, and now it's 7-5. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. What's yours? Mountain Dew fans of the game hoping that they'll be watching one of the great comebacks in Twins history here. The Twins are down 7-0. Down 7-5. Miguel Sano with a 2-run single. And we are just now getting to the 6th inning.
Yeah, good job by Trevor May. An inning and a third. He gave up only 1 hit, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Now, the third reliever coming into the ballgame, it'll be Buddy Boshears coming out of the bullpen, making his 3rd appearance since being recalled from Rochester. First 2 appearances in Boston, Fenway Park. He did not fare too well. So looking for a clean outing here.
Strike 1 to Jace Peterson. Peterson walked and scored in the first, doubled, scored in the second, and then struck out most recently. The left. And Grossman back, making the catch on the edge of the track, 1 down. If you've been looking at the week ahead, you may have noticed the Twins had an off day on Monday and are scheduled to have another one on Thursday. Well, that off day tomorrow has been filled because of a rainout earlier against the Orioles. The Orioles are going to be heading this way shortly. And they lost to the Rockies tonight 3-1, and they're packing to head here for 1 game. And then they will leave tomorrow night to go to Toronto. So there is a game here. We are televising it. Starts at 6 o'clock. We'll have a pregame for you at 5:30. Ubaldo Jimenez, if he's still with the Orioles, will start for Baltimore. Kyle Gibson will go for the Twins.
Yeah, it's that makeup game that was back on May 9th. A rain out.
2-0 to Beckham. Driven to the gap, and Beckham has another hit. Rosario backhanding it, firing towards second. Beckham is safe at second base. One of the few times you'll see a relay on a throw to second, but Nunez cut it off, got it to Dozier, and Dozier's looking in the dugout, shrugging his shoulders as if to say, yeah, maybe, maybe not.
We have seen Rosario make some good throws, and don't know if this ball had enough steam on it to get to second, so Nunez cut it off, and it just, you know, that throw was just on the outfield side. Brian had to, by the time he caught it, you could see losing his balance a little bit, and then unable to get that glove on Beckham before he could get to the bag.
So a double for Beckham, and now Freeman.
Beckman's second double of the ball game. Beckham
1-0. Freeman hit a towering blast to the base of the batter's eye in center field in the 4th inning, and right now that 2-run home run is the difference in the game. Now to drive to right. Santana back. And he's able to corral that ball. The throw coming to second base, but there's nobody there, and Beckham will score. Santana was fortunate enough to catch the carom, and had he turned around and thrown toward home, he may have held Beckham at third base. As it is, Freeman has had a run-producing hit in 4 different at-bats.
Yeah, Freeman actually has hit left-handers better this year, a high breaking or a bare breaking ball, and Freeman definitely likes that ball down. Again, that short, compact swing. And Santana plays the carom, gets the ball back in his glove quickly, throwing to second base. It was off line a little bit.
The Twins had the cutoff. You can see Dozier lined up to maybe make a play toward home plate, but Santana threw toward second base.
Now Freeman now has 5 runs batted in this ball game.
1 strike to Markakis, and the lead's back to 3. Dribbled to the right side. Dozier has an easy play, 2 down, and Freeman goes to third. Adonis Garcia will bat. He's got 2 hits again tonight. Hits for the Braves. They've added an 8th run here in the 6th against Boshiers. On the ground, Dozier has it and throws to first. Couple of doubles, and the Braves get another run. They lead by 3. Can you find locally grown Minnesota apples that are ripe for picking, eating, and drinking? Dozens of open to the public orchards dot the landscape around the state. Minnesotans and visitors alike will have no shortage of good picking come September through late October. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com. Share your favorites with hashtag #OnlyAnMN. Base hit to start the bottom of the inning for Robbie Grossman. So you grew up in California. You probably picked oranges. You probably didn't pick apples like we did in Minnesota.
No, more oranges. I lived in Orange County.
Well, there you go.
Didn't live in Apple County. I lived in Orange County.
Ah.
Oh, look at that. Whoa.
You ever met anybody who doesn't like apple pie? Everybody likes apple pie, right?
Especially with a la mode. A little vanilla ice cream on it. Oh, my.
Here's Suzuki. Got a 2-run home run his last time up. Batting average up now to .295. Checks and takes a strike. Foltynewicz had a rough 4th inning, a rough 5th inning, and now the 6th inning begins with a single.
Hey, he's walking a tightrope right now. Pitch count okay. 88 pitches right now.
2 strikes to Suzuki. Ryan Snitker worked his way through the Atlanta system. Getting a chance finally at the big league level. Just imagine 40 years in the organization, and you know when you're managing in the lower levels of the Braves organization and you've got a Hall of Fame manager at the big league level, Bobby Cox, who managed forever. You've got to enjoy life in the minor leagues. You figure you're probably never going to get your shot in the big time. It's blocked by Pierzynski, 2-2. The Braves have gone through Freddie Gonzalez most recently. Now Snitker gets a chance to prove his mettle at this level. Kroll joined by Cabrera in the Atlanta bullpen. Suzuki staring at a huge hole between Freeman holding the runner and Beckham, who's cheating towards second base. We've seen Kurt exploit that hole. A pop-up over the Twins dugout. Twins got a leadoff double in the 4th. Eventually scored 3 runs. Leadoff single in the 5th. Scored a couple. See what they can do with Grossman's leadoff single here in the 6th. Little block fly, and Beckham makes the catch, 1 away. Danny Santana will bat. Back to our trivia question. We got the game-winning RBIs in the '91 series, I believe. Scott Leyes in Game 2, Greg Gagne in Game 1. Oh, it's Knobloch in Game 1, and then of course Puckett and Larkin.
Yeah, we got 1 right. The 4, but we got 3 of the 4. That's like 2 bonuses.
Santana pop up and a comebacker to the mound. Popped up, backing out of play. Big gap this year between Santana's left-hand swing and right-hand swing. Came into the game hitting .269 left-handed, just .158 right-handed.
Yeah, both home runs he's hit have been from this side of the plate.
Up and away. Mentioned that Foltynewicz given up 3 runs or less in 8 of his last 10 starts. Twins catching up to him here in the middle innings.
Good hard breaking ball there. Santana swinging through it.
1-2. right side. Nice stop by Beckham, but he can't make the play. Can't make the exchange from his glove to his throwing hand.
Boy, he made a nice play. He dove a long way to get that ball and trying to get up and get it over to Friedman for the first out, or second out, excuse me. He lost the grip of the baseball. Santana hitting it sharply. Beckham diving for it. And then just lost the grip of the baseball. Watch this. Watch the exchange. Yep. Never got it in that right hand.
And base hit for Santana. And now Nunez at the plate representing the tying run. Nunez singled and scored his last time up.
That Twins, that bat's starting to come alive here in the last 2+ innings. 8 hits over the last 2 1/3 innings.
Lifted foul into the seats.
We see the pitch count. 23, the most he needed in the 5th inning. Right now at 97.
High and tight. Still plenty of velocity there with the pitch count close to 100. He registered 95 miles per hour. To the right field corner, but foul. 1-2.
Yeah, Foltynewicz again, when he came up with the Astros, they mainly put him in the bullpen back in 2014, 16 relief appearances. Last year, spent time in the minor leagues for Atlanta, ended up getting 15 starts, 1-4.
To short left, down for a hit. Grossman got a good break. He'll be waved around. Now the ball overrun by Peterson. Santana to third, Nunez to second, and the tying runs in scoring position.
Nunez picking up his second hit, gets an RBI, his 47th of the year. But the error by Peterson, that's his 7th error in the outfield. Just kind of overran this ball.
You see, Grossman got a really good break on a soft line drive to left.
And Nunez watching the runners in front of him. Of course, Santana at second, but then when that ball got behind Peterson, getting to second safely.
It was 7-0. Now it's 8-6, and the tying run is a speedy runner at second base. Middle innings for Mike Foltynewicz. He had a 7-0 lead, and now the Braves 8 runs and the lead of 8-6 hanging by a very thin thread.
Well, credit to Twins offense picking up here, especially in the last 3 or 4 innings, getting some runs on the board. Ian Krol coming into the ballgame. He started the season down in the minor leagues for the Braves, called up in May 10th, making his 33rd relief appearance. 32 strikeouts in 28 1/3 innings.
Bauer 2 for 3. Hit to the outfield should tie the game. It's a fly ball, foul over the Twins, or excuse me, the Braves dugout. 1 strike. It's good to see Joe blister a couple of fastballs, mid-90s fastballs. He pulled one, sliced the other to the left field corner. I saw Krol a lot when he was with the Tigers. Braves playing the infield back. They'll give up a run on a ground ball here. Up and in.
Krol with a good fastball, very good curveball, and the circle changeup. Came up with the Nationals back in 2013, a couple seasons with the Tigers, then traded over. Cameron Maybin went to Detroit.
1-1 to Mauer. Tapper right side. Krol is to the bag. Mauer's retired. Santana comes in, and it's 8-7.
And Joe will pick up an RBI on that out. As Santana scores, and Nunez goes to third.
Now Sano will face a different Atlanta pitcher. Krol brought in to retire Mauer. He did that. Twins back in the game, down a run, and the tying runs at third for Miguel Sano. Twins taking on the White Sox, and the first 10,000 fans get a Sano Globe presented by Toro. For tickets, go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets or call 800-33-TWINS. And Sano drove in 2 runs with a single in his last at bat. Will face Mauricio Cabrera.
Now Cabrera, hard throwing right-hander, just called up back in late June, June 27th from the minor leagues, making his 14th appearance in the big leagues in his rookie season. Cabrera just 22 years old, out of the Dominican Republic.
And Sano just 23 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Takes one down the middle of strike. Breaking ball.
Starts him off with a breaking ball. Fastball clocked in the upper 90s. Then he has that changeup like a split finger.
Fouled back. 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Duffy, who had a very short start. Still the pitcher a record unless the Twins can tie it up.
He's hoping they tie it up so he can spit that hook out.
2 strikes to Sano. Hit a 2-strike pitch to the right side for a base hit his last time up.
And that hook's way down there.
And another 100-plus fastball.
Cabrera worked in last night's ball game. He worked 1 shutout inning, worked the 7th inning, had a couple strikeouts.
Been clocked as high as 103 miles per hour. 0-2.
Wow.
And he puts Sano away on 4 pitches. The Twins get 2 in the bottom of the 6th. It's now a 1-run game. A little more congested Grand Casino story of the game than we had last night.
Yeah, Tyler Duffy had a tough first inning, highlighted by the 2-run home run by Jeff Francoeur. But the Twins, they come back. Kurt Suzuki with a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. And Miguel Sano driving in a couple runs with a single to right field. But Freddie Freeman, 5 runs batted in here. That ties a career high with 4 hits. They gave the Royals a 2-run lead, but then the Twins come back again. And it's a 8-7 ball game.
Now, Buddy Boshiers gave up a couple of doubles and a run in the 6th. He'll face Francoeur, Inciarte, and Pierzynski.
Taylor Rogers.
Oh, yeah, I beg your pardon. Taylor Rogers in the game now with Boshiers out. One lefty yielding to another.
Yeah, Rogers making his 30th relief appearance. Worked a shutout inning on Sunday.
Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Outstanding numbers for Rogers in his rookie season.
Just away to Francoeur, 1-2. Breaking ball got the corner. Francoeur thought it broke around the plate. Doug Eddings thought otherwise, 1 away.
All right, and we've seen Taylor Rogers do this, utilize that curveball.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Just got the nip, just the stitches on the baseball.
Huh. Here's Inciarte. That looked outside to me.
Glad you're not umpiring.
I am too. There's a bunt, foul, 1 strike. I think I umpired 1 church softball game, and I was terrible. Slow pitch softball. It was awful.
Well, you weren't even asked back to go to church then after that.
I was so bad I had to change religions. 1 strike to Inciarte. Speaking of that, now tonight is the 2nd consecutive Lutheran night.
Oh.
I mean, that's, you know, we got a lot of Lutherans in this state. One night's not enough anymore.
Good for that.
2 strikes to Inciarte. Dozier gets in front. 2 down here on the top of the 7th. And speaking of religion, Praise FM invites you to Faith Night 2016, a post-game event following the August 13th game between the Twins and the Royals. You can enjoy the game, of course, and then stay for post-game live worship music and appearances by Brian Dozier, Kyle Gibson, and other special guests. For details and tickets, visit twinsbaseball.com/Faith Night. 2 down. Here's Pierzynski. Fastball on the outside corner. Twins have scored in 3 straight innings, and Rogers trying to get his team off the field, get them back in the dugout to go get some more hits and runs. Right off the end of the bat, and that will spin foul. 2 strikes. Just 1 year with the Giants, and Pierzynski as good as he was with the Twins. When the Twins traded him, the haul they got for Pierzynski transformed this franchise for a long time. Liriano, Nathan, and Bonser. And Rogers puts the glove down and leaves it there. And a 1-2-3 top of the 7th for Taylor Rogers. Coverage of baseball. Steven Strasburg, after his first loss, back in the win column. His 14th win this year. Jay Bruce, the subject of a lot of trade rumors. 25th home run of the year. And Andrew McCutchen with a good ball game against the Mariners. The Pirates kind of been lying in the weeds this year, but there they are, 2.5 games back.
Yeah, they're hanging in there.
Wouldn't you like it if they got into the wild card game and actually won the stupid thing once? Just so they could advance, and people would be exposed more to the brilliance of Andrew McCutchen. Brian Dozier.
Watch out.
Woo.
Why didn't he get out of the way?
97 miles per hour. Ball 1.
Cabrera, who got the final out, goes up over the head of Dozier. Thank goodness it was, see, a foot over his helmet.
strike. Was throwing an easy 97 with the tying run at third. We saw him get up to 101. To short left. One away. And that'll bring up Vargas. Vargas a single in 3 trips. As we move through the later innings now, remember the Twins have a pretty potent bench, a versatile bench. Kepler, Escobar, Buxton, and Centeno. And in those first 3 names I mentioned, you've got a left-handed batter who's got some power, a switch hitter, and then a guy who could change the game with his speed. Now, Vargas is the designated hitter. Imagining that he may get aboard here, we might see Buxton used as a pinch runner and then taking over the DH spot.
You can see Buxton getting ready.
Swing and a foul, 0-2. Known for the last few years how valuable Gerard Dyson was off the bench for the Royals, and actually probably more valuable to them at times as a bench player than when he starts. And so we may see if Buxton is used in that capacity. Somebody's got to get aboard first. 2 strikes. And now a ball. Pitch down and in again. Claims Vargas, second time he has struck out swinging on that pitch.
Yeah, that might have been the split finger right there. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins LLC.
Now Rosario, an RBI double and a run scored in the 4th. Swings through 100 miles per hour.
There's that split finger again. Same pitch that struck out Vargas.
And Rosario in an 0-2 hole.
And AJ wants it again.
He got a piece, left it up just a little bit.
Fastball.
1-2.
Pitcher has a final say, but again, I've always respected AJ's game calling.
Oh, back to the screen. Ooh, almost hit Rosario on the care on that ball. Came back and landed, flew right in front of his nose.
Watch this ball come back.
1-2. Battling, and it's got to be tough to do that. You've seen a really good split finger pitch, and you have to prepare for 101 miles per hour. Grossman on deck.
Just hope that he can make a mistake middle in.
fouled away.
Good swing there, but you can see how quick you have to be with your hands when you're facing that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Always amazed how guys like Carew, the great hitters, could react so quickly at a pitch like that. Shook off the split finger. Another fastball.
Grounded right side into right field. Good at bat for Rosario. And the tying run aboard now for Grossman.
Yeah, very good at bat right there. Finally got a pitch middle in, and he could just drop the barrel of the bat and pick up his second hit.
2 hits tonight for Rosario.
Yeah, everything was away, middle of the plate. That was the first pitch that was actually on the inner half of the plate.
Grossman at the plate. Let's keep an eye on Rosario here. 3 steals and 4 tries. Low throw, and Freeman digs it out. Last night the Twins stole a couple of times, stole second a couple of times. Nunez did. And then Pierzynski did throw out Buxton at third base.
You see kind of move Cabrera has home. Does he utilize that slide step? Couple throws over.
We talked at length about Pierzynski's great career, but in his career he has been a 19% thrower behind the plate, throwing out base stealing attempts, and of course that's not very good. And Pierzynski couldn't find it. The ball actually blocked by Doug Eddings. But Pierzynski, with the bars on the mask and everything, couldn't find the baseball.
Well, when you're looking for a fastball away at 100 miles an hour and it ends up down and in, you're just happy to try to get a glove on it. Watch AJ. He wants it outer half. That ball bounced, and then it actually hit the right shin guard of the home plate umpire, Doug Eddings. It'll be a wild pitch, and it allows Rosario to get to second base.
Into the outfield should tie the game. Grossman singled and scored his last time up. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Hits are even 13 apiece. Out in front. That's 1 and 2.
There's that changeup right there.
Twins didn't do anything with men in scoring position last night. Much better tonight. 1 hit away from tying the game. And Abad getting loose in the Twins' pen. Right down the middle. And Grossman strikes out to end the inning. We head to the 8th in a 1-run game.
With your Mall of America Studio Sports Update. It's time for the Twins and the Baltimore Orioles to put on a little makeup. A makeup game, that is. Making up the game that was postponed by rain on May 9th. Join us Thursday night at 5:30 as the Twins take on the Orioles on Fox Sports North.
Last year, the Twins won every game between the two teams. This year, the Orioles have won every game, and the Orioles are leading the American League East.
Well, Taylor Rogers out there for a second inning of work. You saw Abad warming up, but Rogers' last inning threw 10 pitches to get 3 outs, 9 of them over the plate. I think because of the low pitch count, they're hoping to get one more inning out of Taylor Rogers.
You have to when you are trying to put this game together and you only got 4 outs from your starter. You got to think about the possibility of extra innings and protecting yourself should we go overtime. So yeah, every out you can get from Taylor Rogers, whenever he does leave the game, you have Abad, Kinsler, and Presley left. 1-2 to Ibar.
Yeah, Ibar hitting right-handed for the first time, where he's hitting just 195.
Another tapper foul.
Now, Rogers does a good job of changing speeds. He took something off that curveball right there. Ibar a little out front, fouled it off. He'll add and subtract.
And a little flare over the head of Mauer into the right field corner for a base hit. Ibar aboard, leading off the 8th.
Ibar picking up his first hit. The 14th for the Braves.
Now Jace Peterson will bat. A couple of runs scored. Started the game with a walk. And the Braves ended up batting around and scoring 4 times in the first inning against Tyler Duffy. Spinning away from a breaking ball, squaring the bunt, 1-0.
You saw Peterson looking down at third base coach Bo Porter, former Astros manager.
Astros won again. They beat the Yankees 4-1. Lance McCullers with the win, continuing to put heat on the Rangers, who are trailing in the 9th. Strike 1-1. If the Rangers lose, the Astros will be 2.5 games back in the West. Talking about the Orioles, and they will come in here with the best record in the American League. 1-1. Rogers to Peterson. 2-1. Toronto's now moved ahead of the Red Sox. Red Sox losing to the Tigers 4-3. Brad Ziegler, the loss, the new Boston closer. Poor bunt attempt by Peterson, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, last 2 chances he had a chance to lay down the ball, just not a very good bunter. Has 1 sacrifice on the year.
Punch to left field, and a base hit in front of Grossman. A couple of opposite field looping singles have the Braves in business. First and second, nobody out.
Well, Peterson's lack of able to lay it down to get himself out just to advance Ibar ends up getting a little flare to left field, his second hit of the ball game.
And the most destructive hitters for the Braves tonight, Beckham and Freeman, are batting next. Beckham with a pair of doubles, a walk, 3 runs scored. He scored 3 runs because Freeman has driven in at least 1 run in all 4 of his at-bats. See if Beckham is asked to bunt. And if he does, and if he succeeds, he may take the bat out of Freeman's hands.
Right.
Fastball stuck on the outside corner.
Yeah, Beckham does not have a sacrifice this year, and you're exactly right. He lays down, advances the runners. You're going to walk Freeman, who's already driven in 5 of the 8 runs.
Looked foul. Hit hard, but very foul. 2 strikes. Rogers, 33 2/3 innings and 35 strikeouts, and he would love to get Beckham here. Beckham with 147 at bats and just 26 strikeouts. Nice stop by Suzuki.
He tried to go with that hard breaking ball down and in, but Suzuki made a nice block. That keeps the runners at first and second.
Missing low. Ball. Beckham has bounced into 7 double plays this year.
Ryan Presley getting up in the Twins bullpen.
And a breaking ball. Rolled foul.
Beckham in his first season with the Braves, of course, with the Chicago White Sox for 7 seasons. Born in Atlanta, Georgia, so he's got an opportunity to play in front of family and friends. Wow.
Nice stop by Sano. Steps on the bag. Bauer lays out at first. What a double play. The Braves will challenge, and they've got to pick where to challenge. Ibar is going to the dugout, but they may challenge Bauer laying out at first base.
That's where they're going to challenge right there. But what a stop by Sano. And then alertly gets to third base and beats Ibar to the bag for the force out. And then the throw on the outfield side, Joe spreads out. Is he able to keep his foot on the bag?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. What a great defensive play.
Wow.
By Sano and Mauer.
Reminiscent of the Ken Hrbek patented couch potato play in the '87 playoffs against the Tigers.
Oh, what a great double play.
And now Freeman with a runner at second and 2 away. Ball 1. You've got first base open, and Markakis has just had an awful game here tonight so far.
Right. Very carefully pitched to this guy, if you do at all. Do not make a mistake.
2-0. Just go ahead and walk him.
Well, Freeman with the 4 hits, that ties a career high, and also the 5 runs batted in. It ties a career high.
3-0. And now they'll intentionally walk him. 5 runs batted in, that's a good night. But when you drive at least 1 run in 4 different at bats with 4 different hits, well, that's not someone you want to mess with in the 8th inning.
Well, Freeman in the first inning, an RBI single. That scored Peterson, first run of the ball game for the Braves. In the second inning, another RBI single, scoring Peterson again. And then the 2-run home run in the 4th inning. And then in the 6th inning, an RBI double. Now Santana played to Karen perfectly, but it's a double, and he picked up Beckham.
Ground ball up the middle, a base hit by Markakis. And the throw from Rosario not in time, and the Braves get a huge insurance run. Markakis, 2 strikeouts, a ground ball double play, and another ground out. And he rolled the first pitch up the middle for an RBI hit.
Rogers left the ball up, and Markakis, he's always been a good hitter, even though he's 0 for 4 in this ball game. And he hit into that double play, but watch the location of this breaking ball. Just kind of hung right there. Markakis hitting it right back up the middle. And Paul Molitor coming out to make a pitching change.
See Rogers lunging back, trying to knock down that ground ball up the middle, and his glove got there just a little bit late. The Braves add on another run, and the lead is 2 with Rogers coming out. Two corner infielders get a big double play.
Right, they don't turn this double play right here. You know, there might be 3 or 4 runs put on the board, but Sano got that nice hop, alertly steps on the bag before Ibar can get there, and then the throw over. Watch Joe Mauer fully stretched out, keeping that foot on the bag with a big double play.
And now Presley in, delivering ball 1 to Adonis Garcia.
Yeah, Ryan making his 49th relief appearance. The positive here is that on the road trip in Detroit and Boston, the 2 times he pitched, he got wins in those ball games. So hopefully he can get this final out here in the 8th inning. The Twins can come back and win. Give them the win.
Tough run to give up, especially with how the Braves scored it. Hardest hit ball in the inning was the Beckham smash, fielded by Sano. There was a little flare to right, a flare to left, a 4-hopper up the middle. Now a fly to right. And Santana makes the catch. The lead is back to 2 as the Twins get ready to hit in the bottom of the 8th.
As we start the bottom of the 8th inning. Coming up after the game here tonight at Target Field, we will bring you Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. And tonight we'll look at how the Braves were able to jump on Tyler Duffey so soon in this game. He lasted just an inning and a third, gave up 8 hits and 5 runs. And we'll also look at the Twins' comeback attempt, though. Down 7-0 when they started to rally in the 4th, and so far have closed the gap. Now within 2, and we will also hear from the manager, Paul Molitor. All of that right after the game tonight. Dick and Bert.
All right, thank you, Marty. Chris Withrow will get the 8th inning, and he'll face Kurt Suzuki right away.
Yeah, Withrow making his 37th relief appearance. He worked 2/3 of an inning in last night's ball game, threw only 6 pitches, 5 outs. He struck out Sano and then got Brian Dozier on a ground ball out to end the 8th inning. And Jim Johnson came in and got the save.
Off the plate, ball 1. Suzuki, Santana, Nunez due up. Hey! 1-1. Braves bullpen has some very healthy arms.
Yeah, Withrow's been clocked as high as 99. He had right elbow surgery and missed all of last year. Couple stints this year.
Fouled away.
Withrow, 27 years old, formerly the #1 pick by the Dodgers back in 2007. Midland High School in Midland, Texas. 20th overall pick in that draft.
One and 2. Grounder to third. That skips by Garcia, and Suzuki's aboard.
Well, he tried to play it off to his right rather than maybe getting in front of it. If he knocks it down maybe off his chest, might have had a play at first with Suzuki. We'll see how they rule it.
Got to be an error, doesn't it?
Yeah, that ball. You can see right there he's trying to lay it right there, and the ball came up. You've got to get in front of that ball right there. And it is an error, second error for the Braves in the ball game.
Twins have had a handful of opportunities like this. Now Santana at the plate representing the tying run. Santana got a single his last time up, scored. The fact that the Braves got a run here in the top of the 8th changes Santana's at bat. Instead of bunting, well, he does square and take ball 1.
Well, you bring in the third baseman Garcia, so Santana's quick enough. He could lay down a bunt and still beat it out.
If it was a 1-run game, he might be asked to sacrifice bunt.
Right.
Max Kepler's never hit as a pinch hitter in the big leagues, but he's getting loose, getting equipped. Outside 2-0. Santana trying to focus here, maybe trying to keyhole on a fastball he can turn around. And it was up and away, swing and a miss, 2-1.
Well, he got a fastball last at bat, and he got that infield base hit when Beckham dove for the ball. Good effort, but Beckham couldn't get the ball in his right hand. That in the 6th inning.
Fouled away. When he hit .319 2 years ago, it seemed like Santana filled every gap, every alley, and every corner with extra base hits. So far this year, Santana has 43 hits and just 14 or 12 rather extra base hits.
Yeah, he's seen 4 fastballs, all outer half of the plate.
Up and away, 3-2.
Another pitch away.
Andy Santana, when he had 405 at bats in 2014, he had 41 extra base hits.
And he hit .319 that year.
Full count. Suzuki won't be going anyplace here. And a walk to Santana.
Wow, that helps the Twins right there.
First and second, nobody out. And Nunez at the plate, singles his last 2 times up.
That's the first walk the Twins have taken in this ball game.
Fourteenth walk in 28 2/3 innings for Withrow. Nunez, what might be a bunting situation here. Couple of hits and the batting average back over 300. Corner infielders are up.
Nunez has 2 sacrifices on the season. Joe Mauer on deck.
Takes it up high, ball 1. Freeman really crashing hard from first base.
Yeah, Garcia stayed back a little bit. Pitcher's responsibility, get over there and cover that third baseline as your first baseman's crashing, like you mentioned.
And after it, missed. 1-1.
Kind of jabbed at that bunt right there.
Pitch was maybe, to be generous, down around the knees.
And it's kind of a lost art, the sacrifice bunt. Kind of taught to turn where your chest is pointing toward the pitcher where the bat's out front in front of the plate so you can deaden the ball.
1-1.
The location of that number 2 is a good place to bunt the ball.
In the air, but on the ground, and they throw late and still get the force at third.
Well, Suzuki had to wait because of the air butt right there.
He popped it up and it got on the ground, but Suzuki, because it was in the air, couldn't break cleanly to third.
And with Freeman coming in as hard as he is, that ball, watch it hit the ground. It has some spin on it. AJ can't get to it, but Freeman's right there. And he spins. He does the right thing. Watch him barehand this ball. And then quickly throwing it over to Garcia as he becomes like a first baseman for the force out.
Now Santana and Nunez are aboard, 2 of the fastest guys on the team. Mauer at the plate. Failed sacrifice attempt. Big play so far here in the 8th inning. Mauer takes a strike. A single and a double for Joe. He drove in a run with a ground ball his last time up. The double for Mauer. Just his 10th of the year. And a double here will force Nunez to lose his helmet somewhere between first and second. Flare behind third, no play near the tarp. And now 2 strikes. I think that number would surprise a lot of Twins fans. Joe hitting .329 in his career with men in scoring position. Oh, 0-2. Grounder right side. Beckham knocks it down, makes the play. Good play by Beckham. Very similar to the play he nearly made on Santana a few innings ago. Second and third, 2 down now for Sano.
I think we've seen both second basemen in this 2-game series, Dozier and Beckham, showing some range. Beckham right there. That ball almost got by him. It kind of came up on him, but he was able to watch this ball kind of come up right there. And Beckham knocking it down and quickly, this time, getting that ball in his right hand and gets the out.
Sano with the tying run at second. He drove in 2 with a single in the 5th. Fell behind, had 2 strikes, and grounded a single through the right side. breaking ball over the inside corner, strike one. Pitch didn't do much, just kind of sat there, but Sano, seen so many breaking balls away, was prepared for one inside.
Oh, another breaking ball.
It's 0-2. And you see the first one, you think, well, I'm not going to get that one again. Then he throws pretty much the same pitch. Tying runs are out there, but Sano's in an 0-2 count. Got him on 3 breaking balls, and there goes the bat. The Twins threaten, don't score, still trail by a couple as we go to the 9th. Strike one to the leadoff man in the top of the 9th, Jeff Francoeur. He struck out his last 2 times up, hit a 2-run home run in the 4-run first inning. And Presley with that breaking ball buckles Francoeur.
That is a nasty pitch right there. Wow.
0-2.
They're trying to cut the load down as far as workload for Presley. This is his 49th relief appearance. And wow, another great breaking ball right there. And Francoeur strikes out for the 3rd time.
I think what we see regularly is what a well-rested Ryan Presley can do.
Wow. Look at the tight rotation. He keeps that shoulder in. Remember I said Duffy with that curveball? I mean, right there, great example of Presley, how he keeps that left shoulder in and got that good tight rotation on that curveball.
One quick out here in the 9th, and now Inciarte. Fouled over by the tarp.
You know, you can learn if I know Duffy's still watching the ball game, and you can learn from watching other pitchers pitch what makes them successful, especially somebody that has a good curveball. And Duffy, when he's on, he has a good curveball, but Presley does a great job of even that curveball right there. You can see his glove come up, almost like he brings his glove up, and that helps keep that shoulder in. If you drop your left glove down when you're starting your windup or your release, of course you're exposing more right arm than you are keeping that left shoulder in.
2 strikes. And Inciardi's quickly gone on a devastating breaking ball by Presley. Well, Presley had pitched now 3 days, so he's fresh, and we can see the sharpness.
Well, watch his glove, Dick, right here. Watch when he starts his windup. We're going to replay this right here. Watch his glove. His glove comes up and almost out a little bit, and what that does, that keeps that left shoulder in. And then you fly it open, of course, because you allow that right arm to whip through. And it's just little minor things sometimes that you get into bad habits with.
2 down. They're not going to stop the game or anything, but this very likely will be A.J. Pierzynski's last at bat in Minnesota. 1-0. Dribbled. Presley backhands, has plenty of time. Good inning for Presley. And we'll see if the Twins can put together another threat and finish it off in the bottom of the ninth. Last night 2-0, and now they jumped out to a quick 7-0 lead and are trying to hold on to a 2-run lead. It'll be the same plan of attack for the Braves, though. They've got Jim Johnson out there to try to save it for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, Johnson saved his third game in last night's victory over the Twins. He threw 13 pitches in the 9th inning, 8 for strikes. It was a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. Strikeout of Rosario to end the ball game.
Everything we said about him last night is just as true today. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's got a lot of sink. Strike out a whole lot of guys, 30 of them in 35 and a third innings. That's pretty good for him.
He had a right groin injury earlier this summer and put on a disabled list in early May and then activated the first part of June.
Let's have the middle of the lineup. Dozier, Vargas, and Rosario. And again, we'll mention the bench. Kepler, Escobar, and Buxton, who might be a player here for the Twins if they can get some guys on base. Strike on the outside corner. Twins probably wouldn't pinch run for Dozier, but they would for Vargas, who hits second behind Dozier. A high pop-up near the tarp. Garcia, Ibar, and Ibar is the closest to it.
Ibar thought about getting on top of that tarp, but having a little fun with the fans there.
And Dozier behind at the count 0-2. Bounced a double down the left field line, 1 for 4. Double coming leading off the 4th inning when the Twins started their comeback. Sinker away.
We mentioned last night Johnson, 33 years old. He was a closer for the Orioles back in 2012 and 13 when he saved a total of 101 games over those 2 years.
Dozier protects the plate successfully.
And then the Orioles traded him, and he was never the same after that. Went to Oakland, Detroit, came to the Braves in 2015, then ended up going to the Dodgers and then re-signing with the Braves over the winter.
1-2 to the leadoff man in the ninth. Dozier on an off-speed pitch strikes out.
Curveball right there.
One down, and that'll bring up Vargas. Bonus baseball of sorts tomorrow with the makeup of the May rainout game. It'll be Ubaldo Jimenez against Kyle Gibson. Orioles might be in the air right now, flying to Minnesota for one game.
And you know, Gibson's coming off a very good outing in his last start in Boston. Hopefully he can repeat it.
Vargas takes down and in a ball. Twins need a jolt here in the road trips, the one to Texas and the one to Detroit and Boston. The Twins got a lot of big hits late. We'll see if they can start getting some here at home. 2-0. Rosario will hit behind Vargas. A strike.
We saw the movement of that fastball right there. Always almost like a two-seamer, sinker. That's why it creates all those ground ball outs. And then he struck out Dozier on the curveball.
Chopped right to Beckham. And the Twins are down to their last out, 2 away. Now Rosario will try to keep the game alive with Grossman taking over the on-deck circuit. Rosario with a double and a single tonight. Outside, ball 1. Dozier 1 for 5. Twins with 13 hits, 7 runs, but right now that's not enough. 1-1.
Yeah, every player in both lineups have at least one hit in tonight's ball game.
And a breaking ball over, strike 2. Kepler hoping for a chance. He's getting loose behind Suzuki. Twins down to their last strike. And that's it. And the Braves, in just a 2-game series, pick up a pair of 2-run victories over the Twins.
Well, Jim Johnson picking up his second straight save, and Tyler Duffy just that poor first couple innings kind of put the Twins behind the 8 ball. They fought back, but not enough.
Well, Tom Hanneman, the Twins will have a chance to pay the Braves back in 3 weeks, but it stings a little bit to lose 2 at home to the Atlanta Braves.
It absolutely does, Dick. Atlanta's first visit to Target Field in 6 years results in a 2-game sweep. Up next on Twins Live, presented by Century Link, we'll talk about Tyler Duffy's night, the Twins comeback attempt. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and preview tomorrow's game with Baltimore.